Hi, this is Hart, and I am currently in the process of making some junk journal kits. And instead of being full-on gargantuan junk journals, these junk journals are going to take just as much time and be just as complex as the big ones, because you can't let these fabulous, and some of them even have the lyrics inside, cassette tape covers go to waste. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot this video where I make 24 different kits that are going to go on Etsy. And for every one of these that are purchased, oh goodness, better turn that one backwards. For every one of these that are purchased, then I am going to, oh, I have one extra, but that's okay, this will be my sample. So I'm going to take the same size booklet or bigger and provide the same supplies for every one of these purchased to a disabled individual, and then teach that individual, probably in groups rather than individuals, because there's only so much of me to go around these days, how to do junk journals. I haven't taught junk journals in person yet. That's coming soon. So if you're not buying a kit, that's okay. There's so many different ways to help support the organization, including and keeping the organization in your thoughts and prayers, because there's so much to do, so much effort, and it is good to help as many as we can, and I really want to help as many as we can. So if you guys can contribute by buying a kit that allows us to give a kit away, that would be great. If you want to donate your old cassette tape covers, that would be cool, because I think this is an excellent size to start with as a junk journal. But enough about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clip you into pieces as I decide what I want to put in the sample journal. Okay? So the first thing I have down is a little coin envelope, and that's because it fits when you fold it. This envelope is just too big, and that's okay, but if I was to use it, I would just fold it and either tuck in the, anyway, this envelope will work as well. We'll just say that. I'll do a sample in another video of how I make it, and I'm not gonna walk you through that because that would make this video hours. So let's just get going and deciding what to put into this kit. Okay, so I have my handwritten words that are leftovers from when I made my power pack. I do have to save 18 of these because I still have 18 to do. Oh, I could just rewrite them if that happens. And so this is going to be a really random kit, meaning every single kit is going to be a little bit different even though they have similar content. Passion, enthusiasm. There's some that are off screen, by the way, because my counter only goes so far. So tranquil, trust, succeed, and victory. Okay. I think I still have about 18 in here for my power pack. Let's do some of these. By the way, almost all this stuff is from my stash. I do have an individual who was so kind that said she's going to be mailing some supplies. That is awesome. But keep in mind when you see the price of these kits being $10 a piece, I think is what I'm going to put them out there for. Keep in mind that there's a cost to pulling the supplies together, and there's a cost to, for every one of these, I'm going to have a whole nother set for somebody else. And so I don't think they're overpriced. You know, I don't know if I have 2 sets of these, so I might only be able to do this for half. So I might choose a different, so in these kits, I'll use these, and I'll use a different Tim Holtz thing for the donations as paper clips. But aren't they cute? Oh my gosh, these are so freaking cute. I don't even have enough of these for the whole thing. So yeah, these kits are going to be different. But they're fun. Okay. I'm going to get something to fill in though. How many do I have for these? So I'm going to need 26. Something different. This is my box of metal fabulousness. I'm going to go ahead and set this down so I can decide what those 25 things are going to be that are going to go to the disabled in their kits. I'm going to make it not too big, that way it's mailable. Oh, here we go. These are nice. I have some leaves. These are charms. Just in case you can't see what these things are, I have some fabulous keys. I have some completely crazy, need to sort it out. Look at that. Isn't that nuts? Eyelets. Let's put some of these in here. That's what I'll do. So for the kits going to the disabled and to the one person, then I'll add this. Okay, so the next item is a cute little plastic bag that will not only hold little things, but could potentially be used in the junk journal. And some additional words. I'm adding a already folded triangular graph paper. These books are from the 1950s, and each person will get, I guess you'd call it 4 pages, but it's one piece out of a signature pulled out of each one, and the ads in here are fabulous. Now I have a random brad that's either going to be a key or a keyhole, or a corner that will go in each and every one of these. And if a person doesn't have a way to punch it, you just use a push pen or something sharp to punch a hole in the paper to add your brad. Right now I'm realizing that I'm quickly running out of space, and I'm going to have to put fewer on the camera screen, so I'm just sorting through here. And this is just to show you, I couldn't help with the close-up, those ads were fabulous. But this is just to give you a better view so it's not so messy. But believe me, it gets messy again as I add things. So now I'm just adding that brad to each one of them. The next item I'm going to show you is tissue paper. And it does have a cute little gold insignia on this tissue paper. I forget what it is of, but it's nice to have various textures inside of a junk journal. So when I'm flipping through my own junk journals, I do like to have tissue, different types of book pages, and you'll see as we go here that there's a lot of different textures that we bring in here. This is foam. I have blues and pinks and blacks, and they are all adhesive backed. These little butterflies are in their own packaging. I didn't seal the packaging. I use a binder clip to close that in with one of the brads to make sure nothing gets damaged. So each one of these butterflies is different. And the butterflies do have buttonholes to them. The next item I'm adding is a card from Caesar's Palace. And then a binder clip for each one. In case people do decide to sew these signatures in, it is nice to have a binder clip. I put a green paper clip, and now you'll see that I am also adding to each one of these kits 2 different 2.5 by 3.5 completely random cards. I left the hole at the top in case you want to use that as well. This is lined paper, and I'm adding several lined pages to each kit because if you're going to use it as an actual journal or list making, it's nice to have some nice clean areas to write on. This vintage book page that's going to be added to each one has a beautiful natural color. I skipped right through adding some hanging folder, which is that green underneath, and on top of that you see there is some graph paper. These are cardstock on the bottom there, the pinks, the orange ones are glitter, then there's blues, and what I'm cutting out here are miniature postcards. And these postcards are more fabulous in person than you can see on the camera. So each person is going to get 2 kinds of miniature postcards. These are not things I've printed off. These are things I've bought that come in card packs. And that's why I'm cutting them out of the pages that came out of the card packs. This is a vintage United Kingdom map. And when you see it in person, it has a beautiful, I don't even know what you call the texture or the look of that page, but it is better in person than I'm seeing it here on camera. This is a tiny piece of cardboard, and I'm thinking about if someone's doing clusters at this point, so I wanted to add some brown paper bag as texture interest. If someone wants to use it in a cluster or just as part of their page to not have a perfect edged page. This is some, I guess you call it junk mail, but I actually do read through these goofy trust things. And what each person gets, and I went through and picked out to make sure that there's good financial imagery on each of the pages. I fold them in half for the shipping. Which will be no problem because these cassette tapes are perfectly small enough that if you fold them, you're going to be able to get several pages out of this. And by the way, this paper is so fun to have inside of any one of your junk journals because it's so thin and smooth. It's a different kind of feel. These are pages from 6x6 pads, completely random. The beauty of having things like this is on the back side of each of these pages, it's white for writing areas. If you don't like the print, then just paint over it. Have some fun with it. I tried to use a few lined ones and some that have areas for writing. Now I'm adding in origami paper with beautiful imagery, which will be fun to cut up. Or if you don't want to cut them up, then you could use them in a different junk journal. The next piece I'm adding are adhesive-backed cardstock. So just double check on all the papers that you receive if you do buy one of these kits, whether or not the paper has something smooth on the back and it might actually have an adhesive sticker-like substance to it on the back. I don't even know what you would call that. I did give each person 2 of those. Now this is regular cardstock, not adhesive. It's a blend of many different prints. And I'm trying to do a complete mix of colors with vintage look. So I'm staying with greens, reds, pinks, yellows, and the vintage look. And by the way, the greens, reds, pinks, and yellows I would almost say are inspired by that map. And I'm just making sure that everybody's getting 3 pieces of the heavier cardstock. Now, I did find that I ran short on this cardstock because I've made so many cards lately. So I'm adding, if you only got 2 pieces of cardstock, then you get a doily. This is regular paper that's printed. A nice, smooth, white-backed paper. Varying themes on this one, so I start to break away from the theme. Now what I have here is a beautiful paper that came from a book where I took off the cover. It was just a journal, and this lined paper was sewn in, so I'm cutting out the sewn part, and I pull it apart intentionally so you can have a pre-folded piece of paper, and you can use it to make pockets. You can use it however you want inside of the, obviously you can use all these however you want in the book. I'm adding some photo corners. Each person should get 6 photo corners. And these don't always have to hold down photos. Sometimes you can hold down the paper. These are little notes. These are not post-it notes. They're just simple lined notes with Mickey on the front looking like a t-shirt. And then there's some 8.5 by 11 grassy paper with a blue sky. I cut off about 6 inches of wax paper for each person. Again, it's to have a good texture and feel inside of your book. These are definitely not going to be as long in each one of the kits, but I trim up a very bright 100% cotton. In my own head, I'm thinking of those as rag flags. Okay, so I'm going to include one of these in every one of the packages. And these are elastic bands, a little nicer than the rubber bands. And what they'll do is they'll be what allows you to bind it if you don't have needle and thread. Or it'll be your book enclosure when you're done. You can choose how to use it, but I'll include that as well. Okay, so I'm trimming out some coloring pages, and each of these coloring pages will be cut in half in the next clip. And by the way, I have quite a few more things that I add after this in the kits, but I suppose that'll be a surprise. You may find this funny, but I'm also going to include these little pieces, and that's because I know that Janet M. Young is doing a scavenger hunt, and somebody may want to use this book for their scavenger hunt. And I won't know who it'll be, so I'll just include some of them. So thank you for going on this journey with me, and hopefully you enjoy the kit if you buy one, and if not, then this hopefully shows you how to make your own junk journal kits. Thanks for watching.